WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, reviewing often rare and exotic whiskeys. I'm not sure how rare and exotic this is because it's hit the shores of Europe at least. Ardnahoe Inaugural Release. I do like the way they did this. 5-year-old whiskey with 50% ABV. The founder, Stewart Laing, no artificial coloring, no chill filtration. Carefully aged for 5 years, specially selected oak casks. So we have a mixture of ex-bourbon and ex-Oloroso sherry. Whiskey base number 258513. Now, I do like the bottle. I do like the design. The logo is also nice, I must admit here. Yeah, I mean, so that's one of the pictures you have when you look out over the distillery over to the Islay of Jura, and you see the Paps, those two mountains there in between. I visited the distillery 2022, and I must admit that it left a very, very good and lasting impression. Now, there were some news reports a couple months ago that said, hey, they're shutting down the visitor center. And then it was like, no, it's not the visitor center, it's the cafe. They're going to shut down the hours or reduce the hours and lay people off and so on. But hey, that's that. They waited 5 years. It's not a 3-year-old whiskey. It's not a 4-year-old whiskey. It's a 5-year-old whiskey. Over here in Germany, basically the recommended retail price was $79.90. Royal Mile Whiskies has it on sale at the moment. Has it on offer for £69.95. Which is still a tad bit cheaper than what we have at any place else. Now, I like what Ardnahoe does. And before I go into my review, I want to give us some fun facts. All right. So, it's still the newest distillery on Islay. So, now it's one distillery that's almost finished. Alexia Distillers are building another distillery. This is something that is, yeah, we used to have 8. Now we have 9, or was it 9 and now we have 10? 1 second. As I said, there are 9 working distilleries and a couple more in the making. All right, we have Ardbeg, Ardnahoe, Bowmore, Bruichladdich, Bunnahabhain, Coile, Kilchoman, Lagavulin, and Lefroig. So now that's very, very interesting because this was made from peated malt from Port Ellen maltings. Now, just recently, Port Ellen Distillery went online. And I think it was the end of 2022 that Diageo basically said, hey, Islay distilleries, we're not going to supply you with peated malt anymore, starting in 2024 sometime. Go find your own. We need it for ourselves, for our Diageo products, for our Diageo brands, for our Diageo distilleries. Back then, so 5 years ago, 2019, when this was made, it was possible to still use Port Ellen malted barley. And I'm going to pull out here this Ardbeg, 10-year-old. This was made from Port Ellen malted barley as well. And that's going to be a big difference in 10 years down the line when we have a different peated malt. And I'm not sure most of us are aware of this. I mean, this is a big, big, big deal that's happening there over an island. All the people are going to have to. Kilchoman uses their local barley as well as their source barley from Port Ellen. And this is going to have major, major effects on some of the distilleries that in the past used to source from Port Ellen maltings. So, now, the next little interesting fact that I like is they're the only distillery at the moment that on Islay uses worm tubs. And all the geeks out there go, yeah, worm tubs are the best. And I just recently did a live stream. It's called a community roundtable. And someone said, worm tubs are great. I said, all right, one of the distilleries that have worm tubs are Dalvini. Anyone celebrating Dalvini? And it got real still, real silent, real quick. It's like, hey, worm tubs are no guarantee whatsoever that a distillery is making great whiskey. It's actually less copper contact in a worm tub than there is in a shell and tube condenser. Wow, think about that. It's the old-fashioned way. You know moonshiners. They put this little coil through the water so that it condenses then the vapor through the cold water. That's what happens in a worm tub. You have water, cool, you have a coil in there, but in a shell and tube condenser, which is much more efficient and uses much less energy, you get more copper contact. So, but Ardnahoe uses the warm tubs. Something else that I think is very interesting, and when I was there, I just blew my mind a little bit. Ardnahoe's line arms are the longest in Scotland. So you have this beautiful room with this beautiful view over the Sound of Jura. You have the two pot stills there. You have the spirit still in front of the window. And then the pot stills go up and the line arms go out of the building down basically in the worm tubs outside. And there's, I'm gonna guess they're about 5 meters long. All right, so I'm gonna Google one real quick. I was wrong. It's 7.5 meters. All right, so it's almost 25 feet. That's long. I mean, hey, 25 feet, almost 7.5 meters from the pot stills, the line arm. Now, what is a line arm? A line arm connects basically the pot still to the condensers. And a line arm can be actually, it could be the pot still and they could go up. I think at Ardnahoe, for example, they have, instead of vertical condensers, they have horizontal condensers a little bit higher than the pot stills. They go up. There's other distilleries where the line arms are the same, which means if they go up, you get more reflux because you need more energy, more heat to actually get the vapor, the alcohol vapor, all the way to the condensers, because otherwise it condenses back down to a liquid form and then rolls back down. Has to be reheated until it kind of makes its way over. But some line arms are actually going down. So as soon as you make it over the neck of the pot still, it's all downhill, and it doesn't matter if it's a drop of alcohol, ethanol, or if it's vapor alcohol until it hits the condensers. And here we basically have more or less horizontal, but 7.5 meters. That's the longest in the industry in Scotland. All right, so crazy, crazy, crazy things. You walk underneath them. You can take pictures and so on. It's good. So, Ardnahoe was actually founded by independent bottlers, Ben Romach, Gordon MacPhail. They were like, hey, we need to have our own distillery. Signature was like, hey, we need to buy our own distillery. Ardnahoe, not Ardnahoe, Edredour. All these other independent bottlers have their own distilleries now, including Hunter Laing and Co. So we have to go back to the year 1949. Stewart Laing's father founded a whiskey blending company. And part of his education, Stewart Laing joined in 1964 Bruichladdich Distillery. I'm going to call it for an internship. All right, he did a tenure there. And he fell in love with classic Islay whiskeys. And then for the last 60 years, that's his name here, Stewart Laing. All right, so 60 years of his life, he's been basically amassing a fortune of experience in the whiskey world, as well as enough money to finally start his own distillery, which he did on Islay, just right north of Bunnahabhain. If you're in Bunnahabhain, you can see that a little bit over the hill to the right, Ardnahoe. Ardnahoe is named after a loch, which is a lake where they take their water from it. Peaty water sometimes, soft water. It's interesting. Kentucky has hard limestone water. Most of the other world uses soft water. Something to think about there. All right. Very good. So that's that at the moment. All right. So we have still here, we have Port Ellen peated malt in here, 50%, 80 euros. Ardbeg 10, what does that cost at the moment? So, So the 10, I'm going to say it's 40 euros. What is it at the moment? Ardbeg 10 costs 43 euros at the moment. So you can get basically almost 2 of these for 1 of these. All right, 46%, 50%. Non-chilled filtered, non-chilled filtered. All right, so that's Ardbeg. I like it. This has 50 ppm if I remember correctly. And here we have 40 ppm. All right. They're very similar. They're not identical. I did not say that, but they're similar. There's a lot of overlap here. I still get a little bit of that maritime. I get a little bit of a citrus peel zest moment. Coila sometimes has that citrus peel as well. Also using Port Ellen peated malt. All right. Very good. I get a little bit of a honey moment going on in here. That's good. Now, I'm not the peat head, okay? This is not my wheelhouse. I like the distillery. As far as I'm aware, Ardnahoe produces exclusively or almost exclusively only peated whiskies. So it is a limited edition. What does that mean? Are there 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 500,000 bottles out there? I don't know. I really don't. I have no information whatsoever about the batch size. But the wait is finally over. All right, matured in combination of ex-bourbon and ex-Oloroso sherry casks. And there is a QR code that you can discover more with. Nice website, nice information, recommended. All right, so cheers. There is more of that citrus. There is more of a seaweed type of maritime moment going on in here. There is barley sugar. There's a little bit of apple, and there's a lot of, not too much, but there's a lot of peat smoke. This is, for a Islay whiskey, more than acceptable. I'm trying to be nice here. I would never, in my own free time, go, oh, I don't know what to drink. Let's take a look at my selection. Irish, no. Bourbon, no. German, no. Single malt Scotch, sherry, unpeated, no. Oh, let's go for a peated. I will never, ever voluntarily reach for a peated whiskey, pour it in the glass, and drink it. Now, if someone pours me something, I'm not going to refuse it. I'm not going to spit in his face. I'm not going to throw up. But it's not something I favor at all. All right? So that's why I'm giving this a solid C as a whiskey reviewer here. I do think the inaugural release could be a little bit cheaper. Of course, it could be there could be the cask strength inaugural release with, I don't know, let's say 55, 56%, and that costs 180 euros, and this only costs 80 euros. Nah. I don't think that 80 euros, I hope then, there's two things I want to say. There's one thing is I hope that the second release, not the inaugural release, will be cheaper. And then the next thing I want to say, Ralphie always, on Ralphie.com always says, the inaugural release tastes usually better than the second, third, and even sometimes the fourth release. They put the most effort into the best cask into this to put the best foot forward at the beginning. And then they're like, okay, we have stuff left over. Let's throw that in there. So we'll see. But it's exciting to see the 9th working distillery on Islay actually produce and bottle stuff now. Very, very similar, a little bit darker. The peat here comes through more. The younger the peat, the younger the whiskey, the more peat comes through usually. This is a little bit softer with 46%, and with the 10 years, this is a little bit more in your face, a little bit more of a teenager with too much energy. Let's say that, all right? So this, with 10 years of age, is a little bit more of a civilized person, and this is a little bit like a bouncy ball. Energy, 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 which is not bad, but it's good. All right, so my question of the day is, imagine you had €100, $100, £100, I don't care. And you wanted to buy one bottle of whiskey from the island of Islay. Not Islay, Islay. Where and what would you buy? I had to think about this for about 2 seconds, and I was like, oh yeah, Buna cask strength 12-year-old. That's what I would buy. I can get it for €100 still. That would be my bottle of choice from Islay. Is it peated? No. Is it delicious? Yes. What is your favorite bottle from Islay that's under €100? What would you pick? Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, and telling others. See you real soon. Whiskey Jason here. Bye-bye.